Hello, Eurovision fans. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, Eurovision Histories. Today, I want to try to do the impossible and predict the winner of Eurovision 2024, 12 months before the contest will actually happen and before we know any of the artists and songs. And you might call me crazy, and you might be right. But I want to look at all the countries that I think are best positioned to find a Eurovision winner. I have 5 of them and 3 honorable mentions. So let's get right to it. I will explain to you why I think these countries are best positioned to find a Eurovision winner. Now, my first honorable mention would be Spain. They have their Benidorm Fest, which has produced Chanel and a 3rd place last year, but also with Blanca Paloma in a 17th place this year. Even though that might not be as successful as they had hoped, I think they were both very high quality entries. And so Spain has a very good possibility to find a Eurovision winner through this very good national final selection, I think. And I mean, waiting since 1969 is just way too long, and they have to win at some point again, I think. Then Norway, because their national final Melodi Grand Prix has actually produced 7 top 10s in the last 10 years, which is incredible. Last result, of course, Alessandra and a top 5 result. And they have only failed to qualify once, which is a very good track record. And I just think that Norway, its music industry, and this national final are very well positioned to find another Alexander Rybak, another Eurovision winner for them. And my last honorable mention is France. They have had a 2nd place with Voila. And since then and before that, kind of mid-table results most of the time, or sometimes a bit worse, like last year. However, I do think that they want to win it. They are putting everything into their entries. You could see that in Lazara this year, kind of overdoing it maybe and hurting her chances, but France wants to win Eurovision. That is quite clear to me. And I do think that they have the music industry and also the savoir-faire to actually do it and win Eurovision for the first time since 1977. Now, these are the honorable mentions. Let's go to the top 5. In 5th place, I have returnees Luxembourg. Now, let me explain. I know they're a small country, and small countries usually have a bit of an uphill battle, especially in the televote. But I think they have a big advantage that Italy also has in a way, and that is they don't really know what Eurovision is. I hope at least. I mean, they're surrounded by participants of Eurovision, so they might know what it is all about. But maybe they will look for a song that is just good on itself, and they're not looking for a song that fits the Eurovision formula, even though there is no Eurovision formula. And I think that might be a big, big advantage. Also, people will be excited that they're back. People will talk about the fact that they are returning after such a long time, and that might help them as well. So I think Luxembourg is the 5th most likely country to win Eurovision. Then in 4th place, I have Finland. Not only because Kerdier has really promoted Eurovision to the entire country, and maybe coming 2nd to Sweden might drive their will to win against Sweden in Sweden next year, who knows? But I also think that they have a very, very good national final. UMK this year was probably the highest quality of all the national finals, apart from number 1 and 2 that I have on this list. And so I think that Finnish artists will recognize that it is a good thing to participate in the national final. It is a good thing to participate in Eurovision. Kerdier is going viral all around the world, and that will attract more high-profile and good artists in Finland as well. So I do think that they have a good chance of getting their 2nd win, maybe in Sweden next year. In 3rd place, I have Ukraine, because they have a very, very strong and innovative music scene. They have won come 5th and come 6th in the last 3 years, which is an amazing result. They're always doing really well with the televote. And so I think that they can come up with something amazing next year as well. They chose Tvorchi in a war situation. Their national final was held in the metro in Kiev, which I still find so incredibly impressive. So I do think that they want to win again. I do know think that they know how to win again and that they have the kind of music industry that can really help them win again as well. In second place, you might think that this would be my first place. I have Sweden. Obviously, Melodifestivalen has produced in the last 11 years 3 winners, 7 top 5 entries, and only 2 in the last 11 years outside of the top 10. An amazing result. They have a bit of a advantage with the juries, it seems. They always have slick pop songs in English, which the juries usually love. And so I do think that Sweden, with its giant music industry that it has as well, has a very good chance of winning Eurovision an 8th time. However, I have it in second place because the host entry most of the time doesn't do that well. And especially also Sweden has had a 14th and a 5th place while they were hosting. So I can't really see them win it again next year 100%, but they are very well positioned to find another Eurovision winner very, very soon. And then in first place, I have Italy. They have had, in the last 6 years, 6 top 6 results, amazing track record, and they have this big advantage that they have the long-running and traditional Sanremo Festival, which is more about finding the best song in Italy and being successful in Italy, and Eurovision is just a cherry on the cake, and they don't really care looking for the best song for Eurovision. So we have 2 countries in the top 2 here. One, Sweden, is really trying everything to find a Eurovision winner. Their national final is set up in a way that international juries are participating in the vote. You have lots of English songs and pop songs competing. In Italy, it's completely the opposite. They don't really care about finding a Eurovision winner. They don't have an international jury. It's all about finding the best song on the night. And they are very good at doing that. And then they send it to Eurovision, and they're very successful as well. So here you have 2 ways of kind of approaching Eurovision, both of them really, really successful. And so I think that Italy is the most likely country to win in 2024 before we know any of the artists or songs. I do hope that other countries like Ireland, like Germany, like Latvia are successful and find a Eurovision winner soon. But I just don't see that yet with the national final selections they have in place at the moment. Who do you think is the most likely country to win in 2024? Who could be a surprise upset that I haven't even mentioned? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you for my next video if you subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.